Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new Hangout. And thank you so much for joining me today. Sorry this is a couple days late. I just didn't feel like doing anything. That's just the way it is. So today on the show, of course, before we get started, if you're new to the channel, the Hangout is a video I do once a weekish. Where I just hang out with you, talk about movies, talk about music, talk about some physical media pickups that I've made. What else do I do? Oh yes, what I listen to on the hi-fi. Today I'm going to be adding a new feature, which is upcoming physical media releases. So that'll be something new. And I was going to attempt to do what's coming to the theater this week, but there's only one that I really see that's worth mentioning, but I will get to that. So the deal is that you should make a cup of coffee or tea or even just a cup of water or whatever you enjoy drinking while you're just chilling. For me, it's President's Choice Canadian blend with a bit of Earth's Own almond milk original. That's my jam. When I can't get Earth's Own, I buy Silk, but Earth's Own is a Canadian company, and as some of you know, especially now, baby, we gotta buckle down, Canadians. No offense to my American fans or viewers, because if you're watching this channel, you're probably not a supporter of you know who. But yeah, I mean, it's getting to be a bit ridiculous. But anyway, who wants to talk about that? In fact, a new thing I did this week was I turned off on my Google search on my phone, though I don't use Google as often as GoDuckGo, which is another browser, which I highly recommend. When I do use Google, I turned off the trending things. So when you go to look something up, it doesn't list all those stupid trending things, like stupid TikTok things or stupid things the American president has done. And it's actually freed up my mind, and more so. So that's a thing you can do on your phone. Just look it up on the internet how to do it. It's under the settings, I think. But yeah, you can turn that off. So that way when you go to Google something, or sorry, when you go to search something on Google, you're not bombarded with this nonsense, because you just don't need it in your life. Trust me, you don't. And it takes you down rabbit holes that you don't really want to go down. But like all humans, or most humans, it's an easy thing for these tech companies to do, to just go look at the thing and you don't want to, and you know it's bad, but you do anyway. So little pro tip for your web surfing. So anyway, this week is Halloween. I don't have a lot of ambience here. I've got my little candle things going. Actually, this one's my favorite. This little pumpkin. I put it on in the evening on my windowsill around this time of year, and it just adds a little thing. And I've got some lights hanging above me, and if I can turn this ever so gently, I can show you around my TV. I have some orange lights. So in the evening, when the lights are all dimmed and I've got a spooky movie on, it just adds some ambience. So anyway, I don't think I'm doing anything special for Halloween. I have to work that day at my retail job, so probably not going to be doing much. I might wear a spooky t-shirt like my Beetlejuice, or I have a Return of the Living Dead shirt that my son bought me many years ago, which I love, which I wear on Halloween. I also have my Friday the 13th mug and my Friday the 13th long sleeve t-shirt, so could do a little thing like that maybe. But other than that, I think I did buy John Carpenter's Halloween on 4K earlier this year, and I've been sort of savoring the thought of watching that on Halloween night. So that's probably what I'll do Halloween night. It remains to be determined if I will drop a video on Halloween, which is Friday, which is traditionally used to be my old school Fright Friday days where I reviewed a horror movie. So maybe I'll do something on Friday, but I really can't guarantee it, just because so much going on right now. Car inspections, car body work, work, Christmas, all the stuff. It's just, it always happens. The tire changes to the winter tires, even though it's like 17 degrees out. But all that stuff is coming. So, it's a busy time of year. I will get into what I listened to this week and what I watched this week. But before I do that, I will show you a couple of physical media pickups. So I feel bad that some people unfollowed my channel because I think I stopped doing the videos where it was just pickups and I'd have like great big stacks of stuff, because I'm just not doing that anymore. But I still am picking up some things. Though I would say mostly recently it's been music, compact discs. But I did find a couple cool things this week, so I'm going to share those with you now. And probably some of it will surprise you a little bit. For anybody who knows me really well knows that my listening habits, listening habits go all over the map. And just recently I was listening to some Lorena McKennitt in the morning when I'm getting ready for work, because it's very kind of soothing and mellow, and it's kind of a bit of a vibe for the fall. And that led me to like Enya, which led me to Clannad, which led me to all kinds of other stuff. So I'm kind of going down a little bit of a I don't want to say Celtic, because I guess it has hints of Celtic, but it also has hints of like New Age, but we'll get to that in a minute. So if you're watching this video and you're like, oh, don't you listen to prog rock and death metal? It's like, yeah, I do. I also listen to a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't think I'm unique in that. I think a lot of people are like that. I'm not saying I'm like different or anything. So the first thing I got up was I bought a brand new a brand new CD compact disc. This is Dark Throne and a album called Hate Them from Peaceville from 2003. I don't know this album at all, but I did recently purge all of my vinyl. Yes, all of my vinyl, except for one, which is a Lord of the Rings picture disc, which I did decide to keep. But I purged all of my vinyl. Yes, all of it. So if you've been watching my channel for the last 5 years, everything I've ever showed you as far as vinyl goes in those thrifting haul videos, I got rid of it. And I've mentioned this in previous videos recently, but I've just decided that I want to downsize my belongings and my collection, and it's gotten way out of control. The vinyl, guys, I never wanted to go down the vinyl path. Which again, I've probably said this before, but when it came to 2010, I got rid of all of my old vinyl from the 80s and maybe a bit into the 90s, and I don't regret it. I didn't regret it at the time. I still don't regret it, with the exception of maybe that Swans record. Yeah. But everything else, either I've replaced it on compact disc, or I can watch it on YouTube, or I just don't listen to it, and that's okay too. So anyway, in 2020, I bought a record player again, and I started buying vinyl again. And reason being is that I couldn't find a lot of the newer releases on CD in my local record store. I could only ever find them on vinyl. So I bit the bullet. I started buying vinyl again. And flash forward 5 years later, almost 6 years later, and my collection was way out of control. I was buying stuff I didn't even really care that much about, and it was time to go. So I made a bit of money off of my collection, and I've got some credit at some really cool stores, Taz Records in Halifax and Renegade Records in Dartmouth. I got a whole bunch of new CDs, which made me feel really good, and it's reduced a whole bunch of weight off of my belongings. So I had the reason that there is a point to me telling you that story, and that is that two of the records I bought during my vinyl insanity was I bought 2 Dark Throne vinyl records, 2 of the kind of newer ones. This is an older one, so I don't really know what to expect. I assume this is going to be more black metal and less that sort of like blackened rock kind of thing that they're doing, but I am eager to replace those Dark Throne albums on CD. So, but yeah, I picked this one up at Fanfare Records in New Minas. Shout out to Jody, who helped me out with my records and continues to provide me with lots of great choices as far as my music goes. The next thing I got up, Rush. This is called Different Stages Live. I've never seen this CD around. It is a three CD set, which I don't know the years of, but it's it's a pretty exhaustive live set, and I'll show you the back so you can see the set list. If you want to freeze it there. So I don't know what years this is from. This CD is from 1998, it looks like. But it has, Limelight, The Trees, 2112, Stick It Out, Roll the Bones, YYZ, Tom Sawyer, Xanadu, Bytor, and the Snow Dog. So it's got all the stuff on here. I haven't actually listened to this yet. I just picked it up the other day, but excited to dive in on that. And like I said, it's not a CD I've seen around. It's got a little rip there, and it's kind of beat up, but the discs look like they were in okay condition, so happy to add that to my collection. And then going into the Celtic-y, and I'm using that loosely, Clannad. This is their greatest hits. There's the set list, or the track list, I should say. Of course, these guys are best known for the theme from the TV series Harry's Game, I think it's called. God, that printing is very small. Harry's Game, I think, yeah. And they also did a song with The Edge from U2 back in the 80s. I think maybe it was actually that song. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. They started out as a very traditional kind of, actually like Irish, Celtic, like traditional songs, and then they started to add synthesizers. And from what I've read, a lot of the sort of traditional Celtic type fans sort of turned their back on them because they started to go a little more than the ambient new age kind of sound. But I actually kind of prefer that sort of dark, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, there's a lot of Celtic lyrics in here, or Gaelic. I'm not an expert on all this stuff. I apologize, but I do appreciate the music. Funny side story, when I was in Fanfare, my good pal Jody at the store has, 6 or 8 Clannad records. And they're like the old pressings of those records, vinyl records. And I was in there yesterday while my car was getting checked out for body work, and I saw these records, and they're like the old, the thin cardboard, I'm not saying they're handmade, but they're like old indie, independent records, Clannad. And I was like, oh my God, they were $10 each. I had to walk away. It was painful, but I said to myself, to comfort myself, I will find these on CD hopefully someday, and if not, I listened to them on YouTube. One of them was the album Legend, which is, I think, music for a TV show, which appears to be maybe like a Robin Hood type TV show, if I'm not mistaken. You guys, again, can correct me if I'm wrong, but I had listened to that on YouTube on Saturday and quite liked it. And when I saw the vinyl, I was like, really want these, but I don't want records in my life anymore. And I had to say, bid you adieu. But the one thing I did pick up yesterday, instead of spending like $100 on Clannad records, I bought this compilation from the Rough Guides. Is that it's World Music Network, and the CD is called Irish Music, World Music Network, The Irish Selection, Irish Music, The Rough Guide. And it's got a little sign of a pub there. And the reason I gambled on it is because it has a track from Clannad on it. It also has a track from a group called Altan. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, which I did listen to a bit on Saturday and kind of enjoyed it. I would say this CD is more like the actual fiddles and the those drums, and it's more that kind of traditional sound. The Clannad song and a few others really stuck out as not sounding like that. But I did listen. I did like it. It was nice out yesterday. I rolled the windows down. I drove through town with, Irish fiddles and guitars and mandolins and just blasting it, and it was really fun. And so excited to give this another listen, maybe on headphones, and really do a deep dive on it. But yeah, it's cool. And it kind of gave me a bit of exposure to more of the traditional sounding stuff, and a bit of the history of Irish music, and there's some information about the artists, I guess. Yeah. And then it has, I don't know what year is this? I don't even know. But it appears that this label put out a lot of, this is from 1996. So it appears they put out music from different countries. So kind of a cool little collection. Oh, there's a no risk trial subscription. You can even write in the digits on your credit card, and you could sign up for the thing. The Rough Guides CD compilation. But yeah, this was a cool listen. This is a cool listen. I can't say I loved everything on it. The ones that I really like I can't. But if it's a little slower, maybe more of a, I don't want to say a waltz, but just a little slower, I like that stuff. And then similarly related, Enya. This is her debut album from 1986 on Atlantic and New Age Records. And I've listened to this once. It has a track called Aldebaran, which is dedicated to Ridley Scott, so movie related. It has the Celts. Yeah, I don't know a lot of other stuff on here, but I did listen to it at work on Saturday, and it sounded pretty darn nice. And again, this is the reason I got it is because it's a little older, so I figured maybe it was less the Orinoco flow and more the sort of like that moody ambient type stuff. And it turned out to be that way, so very happy to grab that. I will be talking about Enya again in a minute, but the last pickup I got was a DVD, and that is I'm not going to be able to see the year on this, but it's a movie called Housebound. I apologize for the HMV stickers. Oh, I can do this. The movie Housebound, which I've been looking for a while, and I finally found it. So I'm happy to add that to the collection. If you've never seen this, I believe it's a New Zealand horror comedy. I wish I could really see the year on it, but I can't, so I apologize for that. I think it's from around, like, say, it looks like 2016 or 2018, although I thought it was older than that. But this is a really funny horror comedy. It's about a young woman who is arrested, and her punishment is that she has to stay at her parents' house with one of those ankle bracelets on, or ankle trackers. And when she gets to her parents' house, which I guess by the storytelling, it seems like she hasn't lived there for a while. Maybe she was in juvenile detention, but she moves back in with her mom and dad. And all I remember really is she moves in with her mom and dad, and then the mom's like, "Oh, would you like me to make you a pot of tea? And you can feel free to use the World Wide Web." And she turns the computer on, and it's like dial-up, and you can hear the sounds of the dial-up, and it just shows her face, and she's just like, so it's just like, she has to deal with her parents' quirks and quarks, but then at the same time, there's this character who is in the walls of the house, and I really can't remember much more about it. So I'm kind of excited to go back and revisit this. Actually, now that I think about it, this could be a Fright Friday review maybe, or a mini review or something. But yeah, it's really funny. Peter Jackson says, "A wonderfully witty comedy horror that delights in scaring the hell out of you. bloody brilliant. So if Peter Jackson's, I think we could trust good old Peter. But yeah, excited to revisit this one. The person that had this in their shop, it didn't have a price on it. I said, how much do you want for it? They said 15. I was like, I think I've become a cheapskate. And I was like, the disc isn't minty. It's got a few scratches. And then the person said, okay, 5. And I said, sold. So hopefully it plays okay. So that was my pickups for this week. I think that was it. Let me just double check my stack here. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts on any of those CDs or that movie. I'm going to bring them back up now because they were part of what's on my hi-fi this week. So that for the young folks out there who don't know hi-fi, what's been on the stereo this week. So high fidelity. So the first thing I'm not putting these in any particular order, but the first thing I listened to, which was a first time listen for me, which was a recent pickup from Renegade Records, and Tom at Renegade Records, I asked him about this one, and he said, if you like the previous album, this one he thought was actually better, and that is Slow Dive and Everything Is Alive. This is put out on Deep Oceans Records from 2023. I heard I think it was a self-titled from 2020 or 2019. It was excellent. And I saw this. This is the follow-up, I believe. And great stuff. If you like, how would I say that? Like ambient shoegaze. It's not full-on shoegaze like a My Bloody Valentine or like things like that, but it has that kind of slow, dreamy, ethereal, mixed with a bit of rock, pop. Great stuff. That said, I've only listened to it once, so I will be doing a re-listen on that, but first listen, top-notch. I don't know if I'd say I liked it as much as that self-titled one from a few years ago, but I'm looking for that one. But if you can get your hands on that one, and that one, the new one too, is really good, but yeah. Then I found a CD in my collection at my sister's house, which I actually forgot that I owned, and that was a pleasant surprise. It was the very best of Enya. This kicks off with, of course, Orinoco Flow, which is her best-known song, or their best-known song. I gather Enya is not actually the name of the person, but the group. There's Caribbean Blue, there's the Celts, Aldebaran makes an appearance on here, Watermark, May It Be from the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. Just easy going. You could say, I guess it's kind of new agey, ambient, Celtic-y, dreamy kind of stuff. But I would say Enya is probably the queen of that kind of stuff. I don't know if I assume she's still going. I don't know, or this band, but you know what? I'm going to look inside though. No, that's not right actually, because her name is Enya, because I remember looking this up and because I was referring to Enya as a singular person and somebody corrected me and said, oh, that's the name of the group, but I believe that person's name is actually Enya. Because I remember reading that Enya is related to some of the people in Clannad, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I'm just kind of I'm not new to the music. I've heard it a lot before, but I'm new to like knowing more about it. So, yeah. It doesn't list the band members? Or am I don't know. Anyway, Enya, greatest, the very best of. And like I said, one of my pickups this week, of course, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, was where is it? The debut album from Enya. I've listened to it once, really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to go back and revisit this one again. Yeah, so that's that. We already kind of talked about that a little bit. Then up next, well, actually, maybe I'll go through the stuff that I picked up that I also listened to. So I did mention these a few minutes ago, Clonaz's Greatest Hits and the Irish Music Compilation. So I listened to those, talked a bit about those. The other stuff I listened to, so the thing is with Lorena McKennett is, this is one of the ones I listened to this week, which is The Mask and the Mirror, which is so far probably my favorite of hers. The thing about her albums is the covers all look the same. And I haven't gone a deep dive through my collection again, but I feel like I may have bought one or two of them twice. Because the album art, it's always it's her standing there with her red hair with a gold and black background. And I get confused. So I need to make a list on my phone, I guess, of the ones that I have, so that way I don't do that again. But I do really like this one. This is, I think, from 97, I want to say. No, 94 it looks like. The other thing is that I don't know these albums super well. So for me to say, if you played me a song, I wouldn't be able to tell you what album it was from. It does have that nice... remember in the 90s when they started making them less the glossy cardboard and then they went to that paper? Oh, it smells like an old library. Does anybody else like that smell? Old books. But it has that kind of very cool aged paper. Some pictures of some castles. Which is kind of why I was saying a while ago, it kind of lends itself to this time of year just because it's got that kind of like, I don't know, it just gives me those autumn vibes. I don't know why, but I don't know on this album if this had any kind of like singles. Let's look on the back here. The Mystic's Dream, the Bonnie Swans, Dark Night of the Soul, Marrakesh Night Market, Full Circle, Santiago, The Two Trees, and Prospero's Speech. So, yeah, on the hi-fi. But also related, I also listened to this, which is Lorena McKennett, Elemental. And this is her first album I discovered. I bought this, I don't know, I think earlier this year, maybe. I think it's from 1985. And it's her first album. And this is really good. I really enjoy this. Yeah, I really can't say with any accuracy the songs that really stick out to me yet, because I'm just really starting to do a dive in on her music and that. But I believe this was an independent from her record label, Quinlan Road Productions, out of Stratford, Ontario. Yeah, Lorena McKennett is ours. So, but yeah, inside, lyrics, Elemental. It's not as produced and not as kind of like new agey sounding as maybe her later stuff, but still got that, a little bit of that vibe. Smaller production, harps, just beautiful. Her voice is stellar. You know, I lamented years ago, I said if I could have any singer sing me lullabies to go to sleep, I always said it would be Sade, which would still be a close runner, but Lorena McKennett, her voice, wow. I was going to go back and tell you a funny story, and that was one of my, I think I have something with some adoration for paper and old books and things, because years ago, baby, like I'm talking like 45 years ago, when I was in junior high school, we had to do this project where we did like this. We were studying like, covered wagon times, like the Pilgrims and all that. And we had to do, or maybe it was about the plague or something, but we had to physically make what looked like an old diary from way back in those days, with like, I don't think we used ink, but we used like black paint with a paintbrush to simulate the writing of an ink pen. And we dyed pieces of paper in tea to make this aged look. And I remember doing that project like so vividly because I thought it was so, it just spoke to me. I don't know. I found it so fascinating. And I continued to do that on my own, to just like dye paper with tea in a like a shallow tray and then dry them, and the patterns they would make. And just talking about it kind of makes me want to do it again just for fun. But that was something, I don't know, that just triggered a memory. I was talking to somebody last weekend who's studying at NASCAD, which for those of you who don't know is the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design in Halifax, which is our big art school, a fine arts school. And I was talking to this young person that's studying there, and we got talking about, art and art careers, and how like when I really wanted to go to NASCAD in 1988, and my parents talked me out of it. Just a sec. My parents talked me out of it because I don't think I was a great artist. I think I've found some of my skill, but back then I liked art, and I of course every creative teenager wants to be an artist, I think. But my parents talked me out of it. Long story short, I was talking to this young woman from who's studying at NASCAD now, and I was telling her that story, and she said, "Oh, that's too bad that you were talked out of it." And I said, I went back to the craft college in Fredericton years later as a divorced almost middle-aged person, and to kind of recoup a bit of that, do a bit of healing and discovery for myself. And I was telling her about one of the studios I took was fiber arts, and we got to make paper using fiber materials and things like this, and weaving like old string and all this stuff, and photocopying. Oh yeah, I just remembered this cool thing we did where we photocopied pictures, old pictures on a photocopier that used that kind of ink that's a little raised up, and then you flip the you flip the picture onto the paper and you rub it with this special marker, and it almost like silly putty. It leaves an imprint of the picture on the paper. I forget what that stuff's called, but long story short, all that stuff really appeals to me. This girl is going to go, she wants to go and work in the library. And I think maybe with like archives and stuff like that. And I said like, if I could go back and redo it, not that I have regrets, but if I could go back and redo, probably would try harder with that stuff. But I don't know, it's coming back into my spirit and my mind lately. So it's almost maybe like the universe is sending me a message that, it's not too late to explore some of that stuff or incorporate it with my drawings or something like that. But anyway, side story. Whoa. Oh yeah, well these weren't on the hi-fi, but I did pick these up. Dark Throne and Rush. Those will soon be going to my hi-fi. So moving on, I should have some. I was thinking about making some handmade signs that I could hold up, like, what did I watch this week? So, because I'm not into the video editing much, but maybe I could do something like that for next time. Sort of give it that like Be Kind, Rewind kind of feel, the homemade kind of thing. Anyway, the things that I watched this past week, and this hangout's probably going to be a little longer than the last few, but I think you're okay with that. I hope you're enjoying hanging out with me. It's autumn. We're well into autumn now. The leaves are changing and falling. The air is cooling off a little bit, but we're still getting pretty warm temperatures. But I do see this weekend it's rain and like 10 degrees, so that'll be perfect sweater weather. Am I right, people? What I watched on the streamings. So the first one I watched was the movie Weapons. I watched this on Crave in Canada this past week. I don't know if maybe that movie got overhyped to me. I think this is the same director that did the movie Barbarian, which came out a couple years ago, which I liked the bulk of that movie. I was not big on the ending of it. And I would say this movie, very similar. I thought the build-up was great. And I liked the characters and the acting. It had a bit too many jump scares in it for me, which to me, it for a horror movie, I was never scared during this movie. Now, maybe for some other people in a darkened theater, maybe that worked, but for me, I was just like, oh yeah, it's a weird clowny painted looking face coming out of the darkness in a basement. It's like, duh! And I'm like, okay. I thought it was a good movie. I'm not gonna totally what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not gonna dismiss, that's the word. I'm not gonna totally dismiss the movie, but I think maybe it was a bit of, it's a pretty good movie and it got overhyped to me, because I have watched some YouTube channels where they were saying, oh, this was my movie of the year. And I'm thinking to myself, what did I miss? Because it's okay. It's okay. I think the main reason I was disappointed is because it used a trope near the middle to the ending that I find so many movies use now. I won't spoil it for anybody because it's a fairly new movie, but whenever there's something weird going on, it seems like a lot of movies lean into this particular trope a lot. And to explain away all of the weirdness, and I'm just getting a little tired of it. I don't know what you could do to make it different. Like, maybe it's just a situation where I've been thinking this a lot lately, where maybe it's just time to do something completely different with film and not just, here we've got this cool idea for a horror movie and they're all like, oh, it's a great idea. How are we going to explain the ending? How are we going to explain what all this weird stuff is happening? It's like, I know, we can use, this thing. And, like Hereditary, or, again, I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's just like, come on, people. Come on. Maybe it's like ancient gods that come up through the earth, like a cabin in the woods, or maybe it's aliens, like in the what's that one? The fourth, whatever, the fourth kind. Could it just be something other than this trope? But anyway, I'm not gonna drag it on. Okay. It had, the one thing I will say it had going for it, which I thought was cool, but also kind of a ripoff, was it used the time shift like Quentin Tarantino uses, where it tells the story from a bunch of different angles but all converging at the same time. Kind of like Jackie Brown, it's like the perspective of all the different characters, which all leads to that ending, which I guess is different for a horror movie, but also the whole time I'm thinking, oh, Tarantino. So, I don't know. It was okay. The other one I watched, which I had seen recommended on a Halloween watch list, and that's a movie called Haunt, which is currently streaming on Shudder in Canada, I believe it was. This is about some kids who, again, cliches, but I would say maybe it works because it's quite well done. But it's 6 friends go to a extreme haunted house, and let's just say things don't go well for them, and that the extreme haunted house turns out to be something different than what they thought it was, and way more extreme. I will say it's a low budget movie, but I will say they did really well with whatever budget they were working with. I thought it was fun. It was pretty gory. The acting was pretty good. I don't know the lead actress's name, but she almost reminded me of the lead actress from the Terrifier movies. I don't think it's her, but it could be. I don't know. But it kind of gave me those vibes a bit. Maybe they were going for, like, after the success of Terrifier, they're like, let's do this, but like in a extreme haunted house kind of thing where the doors are locked. And oh yeah, it was like escape room meets Terrifier type thing, without the main, obviously, Art the Clown, without the main kind of like central character, but spooky masks, like clown masks and stuff like that. And yeah, it was cool. I'm not saying it was amazing, but I thought it was fun. It's a fun Halloween watch if you're looking for something a little more edgy or like gory or extreme, I guess. It get the heart pounding. Not bad. So that's the movie Haunt. And the final movie I watched on streaming, which was kind of a surprise for me because so many people slammed this movie so hard, and that was Megan 2.0, which came out this past summer. It had such negative reviews that I didn't go to the theater to see it. It started to stream on I think it was Amazon Prime in Canada, and I bookmarked it. I was like, I'll give it a watch. Whatever. I thought it was pleasantly fun, actually. I don't know why it got so much hate. Is it more of an action movie and less of a horror movie? Yes. But if you really think about the original Megan, which came out a couple of years ago, if you really think about that movie, it's not like... I think it gets lumped in as a horror movie, but when I really stop and think about it, it is really more of a sort of a sci-fi technology gone wrong movie, and the technology going wrong causes, spoiler, deaths. But it's not really like it's not a haunted robot. It's not a robot working in conjunction with like zombies or something. I mean, it is actually like technology gone wrong. And when I watched this new one last night, Megan 2.0, I thought this is just an extension of the first one and actually really well done, because it's like, I don't want to give away too much in case you haven't seen it, and maybe my review will cause you to go and give it a chance. But yeah, it's like another AI robot is created, and then it's like Megan is, returns to the scene, and maybe there's some fights and action going on there, but it is actually just an extension of that with added in AI, which is a big hot topic, as we all know. But I thought it was really fun. It had really funny lines in it, like the humor. I thought it added a dose of humor to it that the first one really didn't capture as well. There's a scene where they're in a sports car and Megan is controlling the sports car and she says, "Hold on to your vajayjays." And I just like spit out my tea. Like I thought it was just, I mean, maybe some people thought that was really cheesy, but I thought it was really funny, and I was really cracking up. And there's a lot of like one-liners, but they're very like kind of quiet and almost like dour. But if you pick up on them, they're really funny. They really work for me. Maybe it's just my sense of humor, but Megan 2.0. If you like the first one and you're a fan of like science fiction films, and you want a bit of more action, and you want to, not that anybody really wants to enjoy any like stories about AI, because it's become a little tiresome, but it is a thing. It is a barrel of a gun that we're staring down. So it addresses that stuff, and I thought it was really funny and really clever. So don't always listen to the haters, because sometimes films get bad reviews. It was much like Joker Folie à Deux. I actually really loved that movie last year. I ranked it quite high on my list, I think, of top movies of the year. So don't always listen to the critics that just dismiss it immediately, because sometimes it's a knee-jerk reaction to a film rather than giving it some time to settle, hearing what people are saying about it, hopefully without spoiling it, and then going and assessing it on your own and having your own opinions about it. You don't always have to go with what other people are saying. And I think Megan 2.0 got an unfair shake. So if the producers and actors and director and all the people involved with Megan 2.0 are out there, and because I'm sure they were really disappointed with the reviews and the box office, but I'm here to say, pretty cool movie. Go check it out if you're willing to be a little bit adventurous and go against the grain. And then on disc, what did I watch this week? I watched, just quickly because this video is going really long, but a newer seasonal favorite of mine, Shrek Scared Shrekless. This is really funny. If you like Shrek and you like, there's like a kind of a Frankenstein-y type story. There's a Psycho Bates Motel kind of story. There's even an accompanying remake of the Michael Jackson video of Thriller with the Shrek characters. This is really just really fun. It always cracks me up. It's not very long. I think it's only 25 minutes long or so, but it's really fun if you're looking for something lighthearted. Speaking of lighthearted, I also, of course, enjoyed It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown TV special. This is the remastered DVD edition. I've been watching this since I was a little kid every year. Of course, I used to have to watch it on TV when it came on. Now I have the DVD. I can watch it at my own leisure. I think this came out in 66, if I'm not mistaken. So I was born in 70, so I would have seen this like 73, 74, 75, and then onward. So happy to have rewatched that. It's a seasonal classic. If you've never seen that, go check it out, of course. Linus waiting in the pumpkin patch for the great pumpkin to come. Another more lighthearted one I watched Goosebumps 1 and 2 on DVD. I picked this up in the $5 Walmart bin a couple of years ago when they had the spooky movie cheapy bin, which they don't have at my Walmart, but they have one about a half an hour up the road. So yeah, watch both these movies. Just lighthearted fare. I didn't, as I mentioned in previous videos, I didn't grow up on Goosebumps. That was well past my childhood. But I do enjoy these movies for what they are. Jack Black, I would say the only thing that kind of irritates me a bit is Jack Black's accent, which I actually looked up on the internet after I watched it. I was like, what's with Jack Black's accent? He does that, I don't know, it's not quite British. I don't know what it is. He does it in, I think he did it in that Minecraft movie. He's like, I'm Steve. He does that weird thing. I don't know what it is, but somebody was saying, oh, he's trying to sound like a pompous author, which I don't know if R.L. Stine is actually a pompous author, but, and then the second one I actually would highly recommend for Halloween, just because it has more of a Halloween vibe, and I believe it's actually called, isn't it called like I thought it was called Goosebumps something something something. No, am I dreaming? Maybe it's just called Goosebumps 2. In French, it's called Chair de Poule. I don't know. If you're looking for lighter fare, especially the second one, it definitely had more Halloween vibes. But yeah, just fun, kind of spooky kids shows. And then this one, not related to Halloween at all, but I did put it on last week. Don Bluth's classic, The Secret of NIMH from 1982. This is such a sweet little movie. You guys are like, what are you doing? You're watching like Weapons, and then you're watching The Secret of NIMH. But yeah, no, this is not a movie I grew up with. My aunt used to always take me and my sister to movies, but independent of each other. So in 82, my aunt would have taken me to see probably, I think it was, it could have been Raiders of the Lost Ark or Dark Crystal. And then she took my sister to see The Secret of NIMH. So I think my sister grew up with this movie. I only discovered this later in life, but I do love it. Don Bluth did the animation, or he was the director, and he did some great animations. I love his style. This has voices of John Carradine, Dom DeLuise, Peter Strauss. Yeah, great. Love this movie. If you've never seen this and you like those kind of movies like Dark Crystal, although this is like a more traditional animated, but like, what else? Like The Last Unicorn, Black Cauldron, those kind of things, like animated but a little darker. You'll probably like The Secret of Nim. And it's based on an old kid's book, which I don't know. I didn't grow up with it, but watching that movie kind of made me curious about the book. So that's what I watched this week. Let me know what you watched in the comments below. I know this video is going super long. It's going to be one of those hour-long ones, but I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're cozy and you've got your coffee. Mine's, of course, gone cold. Not great, but, you know, if you're a coffee fiend, you probably still drink it room temperature. But just quickly before I go, upcoming physical media releases. So today, which is, I don't know, October the 28th, I believe. It's a Tuesday. New release day. Not that my Walmart, because I don't have any movie stores where I live, except with the exception of Walmart. So we don't usually get many of the good new releases, but new stuff coming out today from Arrow. We have In the Mouth of Madness coming out on 4K. That was the Sam Neill one, I think. Edward Scissorhands 4K Steelbook coming out from Disney. That's the 35th anniversary, kids, of Edward Scissorhands. That would also be a really good one to watch this week leading up to Halloween. Not that it's a Halloween movie or really a horror movie, but it does have those, it does give me those kind of spooky, cozy vibes. Miss 45 from Abel Ferreira comes out on 4K from Arrow as well. Nightmare Alley, the Del Toro movie, comes out on 4K from Criterion. I've actually never seen that movie. That is a blind spot for me. I remember seeing the trailer for it and not being that excited about it, but maybe I have to give it another go. A whole bunch of the Saw movies are coming out on 4K Steelbook from Lionsgate. The Toxic Avenger Steelbook, I believe that's the 2025 version, is coming out from Cineverse. It's also coming out in a non-steelbook, and I believe the original Toxic Avenger is also coming out on 4K today. And the Smurfs 2025 is coming out from Paramount today. I should say, asterisks, you know, not a guarantee from this channel. Those are just what I've read, allegedly coming out today. So I would never want to get someone's hopes up and then they go to the store and they can't find it. And then they say, yeah, but Night Owl Video said they were coming out today, so they're wrong and I'm going to sue them. No, this is just, I'm going on Blu-ray.com, allegedly coming out today. So, or apparently coming out today. And then in theaters this Friday, we have the film Begonia coming out. I believe this is an A24 film. Not many movies coming out this week to the theater, but there will be some cool things coming out in the coming week. Can I spoil it? Well, it's not really a spoiler, but the Del Toro Frankenstein is coming out. I think that's November 7th, which must be, yeah, it's a week from, is it a week from Friday? Why is that not coming out on Halloween or before Halloween? Is that like a missed opportunity or what? Del Toro, one of people's favorite fantasy directors, coming out with a remake of Frankenstein, and it's not getting put out before Halloween or on Halloween for that matter from Netflix. Really weird decision to put it out a week after Halloween, but I guess my only reasoning could be that it's not, he doesn't want it to be lumped in with all the Halloween movies, and he wants it to be sort of in that gray area between Halloween and Christmas. It's a fantasy film, but then again, why not release it at Christmas? It's just a very strange choice for release, but I am really, really looking forward to seeing that film. I do like Frankenstein. I do generally like Del Toro, though I have to say his latter movies, it's more diminishing returns, but I really liked what he did with the Cabinet of Curiosities series, as far as like the people that he got to guest direct. And generally, I've enjoyed his films. The Shape of Water I thought was really good. But he's going more in that. I think he's kind of in that really beautiful middle ground where it's like, he's like, I'm not a horror director. I'm a fantasy director with very dark elements, and I've got, Pan's Labyrinth and Kronos, and the list goes on and on and on. But maybe that's where he's trying to continue to dwell, is kind of in that middle ground of, I'm not Halloween and I'm not Christmas. I'm like that beautiful kind of middle space where it's the fantastic time. So, which is a time that I actually really enjoy. I don't know about you, but I love that time between Halloween and Christmas where it's like more of I do tend to watch more like fantasy movies and get sort of more dreamy, and I like more like, like Secret of Nim, or if you go back last year on my channel, you'll see I was watching a lot of like, J.K. Rowling, but I was watching the old Harry Potter movies, but more like Bridge to Terabithia and Lemony Snicket and those kind of movies, those like sort of tween movies from the early to mid 2000s. Golden Compass, Chronicles of Narnia. Like, I find those movies really, very soothing around this time of year, or a little after Halloween. So maybe that's what Del Toro's going for, is more of like a fantastic time. But so yeah, in theaters this Friday, Begonia drops. I've seen the trailer. I don't quite know what to make of it. I forget that actress's name, but I do like her. So we'll see. That'll probably just be a streaming watch for me. I can't see myself going to the theater for that. What is coming out this Christmas? I didn't look to see what's coming out. I know for my niece and I, we went to see the Gabby movie, which was really fun. I didn't do like a review of that, but just quickly, if you have young people in your life and you are yourself a little bit of a kid at heart, the Gabby movie was really fun. We went to the theater and saw it. I can quickly grab this thing. Just hold on one sec. We went to see it at the theater on opening day, and I don't know if I showed this before or not, but I got this. Well, I grabbed this extra one for myself, but I took my niece to see this, and she loved this movie. She was dancing a storm up in the theater. I may have mentioned to you before, but my main job during the week is being a caregiver to my niece who has intellectual disability, and I took her to see this, and she friggin' loved this movie. I'm actually thinking maybe I'm going to get her the movie for Christmas on Blu-ray, but she was dancing up a storm back and forth. There's a lot of kind of dance numbers in it. Like, it was so fun. But anyway, the theater was giving out these certificates to say, my possum first movie, Gabby's Dollhouse, and it's signed by the theater manager, and this is where we saw it. So yeah, it was really fun. So yeah, on that note, the next kids movie that's coming out, I believe, to my knowledge, I think that I would take her to see would be, there's a new SpongeBob movie coming out at Christmas, so I'll probably take her to see that. But yeah, let me know if you've seen any movies in the theater recently. I know there's been a few good ones recently, maybe. And I know Fantastic Four First Steps is coming out on Disney Plus in the coming weeks. I really, really want to see that. I really wanted to see it in the theater, but I didn't go. So anyway, that'll be for maybe an upcoming Hangout video. It got very dark in here, or am I just imagining that? See if I can get some, I don't know, some more light. It seemed like it got very dark. So guys, it's been an hour. We've had an epic hangout together. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you were cozy, having a warm beverage, enjoying the fall weather, maybe watching some spooky movies. Let me know what you've watched recently. And like I said, I'll try to do something for Friday for Halloween, whether it's reviewing a spooky movie or maybe talking about a few of my favorite spooky movies or something, or maybe I'll go through my horror movies on my shelf. I did a different perspective today, you probably noticed. This is my new movie shelf. It used to be a black shelf behind me, And as you can see, I've downsized a lot, and I was able to put some of my CDs up here, which is my current listens. So yeah, I still have a project actually. It's kind of a cool rainy day today, so I may put on a spooky movie and just spend some time organizing my movies, which is, if you're a physical media collector, one of the most satisfying activities is to organize your collection. So maybe I'll do that. We'll see. But anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it to the end, I really do appreciate your viewership. I hope you're taking good care of yourselves and your friends and your family. I know this is a little premature because we haven't even had Halloween, but don't get swept up in the Christmas nonsense. I've already seen stuff at the stores, Christmas trees, buy, commercials on YouTube and on the TV. For me, I wait till the end of November into early December before I even decorate. I am maybe a bit guilty. I've bought a few gifts just along the way to kind of like get ahead of the curve because I have a lot of car repairs coming, which is unfortunate, but just don't get swept up in it, guys, because it really is a machine and they just want you to buy. This year, can I ask my Canadian friends to do me a favor? Let's spend our money on Canadian goods and products and spend less of our money at Walmart and places like that. Let's dig our heels in, buy local goods, go to your local craft Christmas markets, buy some handmade things, buy some handmade treats if you can. If you can't, even just tell people about your favorite stores, support them that way. Don't go to Starbucks, don't go to all these big chains. Go to your local cafe and buy a cup of coffee and read a book or listen to a podcast or do whatever. But let's get away this year. Let's let the Americans really know that we're not going to support that kind of behavior. And I know that's not all Americans, but we can really send a message to I don't even want to call them our neighbors now, but to that country that exists next to us, that we're not gonna take it. No, we're not gonna take it. Buy Canadian goods. Support your local Canadian businesses. Let's do that. Can we do that? I would have to look at the gifts that I've bought. I'm probably gonna disappoint myself already with the 3 things I've bought that they're probably not made in Canada, but from this point on, I'm going to try to make a very concerted effort to just buy Canadian. So, or for that matter, any country that's not. So anyway, maybe I'll be blackmarked, or I am making a YouTube video, which is an American company, which is disappointing, but it's a necessary evil, I guess. Unless I started putting videos on like some Canadian video platform. Does that even exist? I don't know. But anyway, enough of that. Support Canadian businesses. Don't get sucked up into the holiday machine. Buy physical media. Go to your local charity shops and buy physical media. Watch discs. Listen to compact discs and vinyl and cassette tapes. Read books. Buy books. I know a lot of you out there probably buy lots of books. Buy Canadian books if you can. Drink Canadian coffee? No, but yeah, we don't have that. But you can definitely drink at some local cafes. But anyway, that's it for today, guys. I'm sure I'll have more rants about Christmas coming, but that's it. Take care of yourselves. I hope you're doing well. Take care of your friends, family, and your community. And until next time, you know the drill. I'll see you at the video store or the thrift store or just out and about somewhere. But until next time, take good care of yourselves. Have a spooky week, and I potentially will see you Friday. If not, I'll be back on the weekend or early next week with another Hangout. That's it for today, guys. Love you, and take good care. Bye.